the best way for us to try and describe it is to say that it's an isometric game based around impossible geometry and architecture is the sort of go-to line we usually use. It's as much about the interaction with the environment and the architecture itself as it is the puzzles or the character, really.
But along with that, there is a narrative, and as you progress through the 10 chapters of the story it is in fact a story. This story is unfolding, and you learn more about why you are there and why you're helping Princess Ida go through all these monuments and do what she's doing.
What feeling would you like the player to walk away with? So it sounds like there's an atmospheric element. There's sort of like the enjoyment of just being in the game.
Yeah, but you had the ultimate quote earlier, didn't you?
That's what I was going to say. I got a great quote of someone today who they were on the booth and they had the headphones on and they took them off and they were like, "Oh wow, that game is like it's like a spa treatment," which is like a great way of describing it. I mean, we definitely wanted to whatever our ambitions are for the narrative. The point is that I think we've trying to create something really kind of moving in terms of it puts you in another space. It changes, changing the way you possibly forget about time. You know, it's like you get immersed in the gameplay, and you caught up in this very imaginative world, this kind of ethereal and puzzling world. This world of what's the word for the architecture, sort of this.
We think it's more about kind of helping you to enjoy the experience with impossibility rather than kind of challenging you with the impossibility. And that feeling of how you perceive what you're looking at on screen and how you translate what you're seeing on screen into your assumptions about 3D reality is a large part of the game, as well as challenging your perception of what you see and letting you try and perceive things in a different way, and that takes you outside of the reality as well. And I think that's part of the immersion and the spa treatment is that when you're in that world, you're not looking at things in the same way that you would do real life. And I think that's part of it. I think I'm genuinely going to change the iTunes description to say it's like a spa treatment and then quote some guy at GDC.
We did tons of user testing, and the aim was never to, as you say, that you should always, if we've done our job properly, then you should never really be, delete this game in frustration.
It's like we don't want any rage quits, but watching people play through and you see people get a little bit stuck and you're tempted to intervene and tell them, but we've learned that what you need to do is not do that, because
that's the fun.
The moment where you are really building up to want to intervene is the moment where they get it and the light bulb goes on in their head, and that's where they get the most enjoyment out of it.
You kind of hinted the fact that there's a bigger story, a bigger narrative.
Yeah. The problem of often conveying narrative in a game, players will often overlook it. Will often rush through narrative, and we've been lots of implementations of how we deliver the narrative as we've been making the game, and we've really sort of settled on a way that is hopefully delivers the narrative, but is sort of unobtrusive in a way that is not that if a player does rush through and doesn't really read everything that we put in front of them, and we haven't put that much in front of them, that they're not going to necessarily miss out. I mean, part of the story is just playing the game, that the narrative is about interacting with these spaces, and that's really a lot of what this is about.
Yeah, it's been developed in Unity from day one. The whole team has got experience in Unity, so it was a kind of natural pick, and actually for the kind of game we're making, which is, or have made, I should say, which is all about the kind of maximum amount of craft and polish into everything that you see. Having a really good 3D editor is a really kind of huge part of that, and our artists being able to iterate kind of instantly and see what it looks like and play around with it is kind of invaluable. I don't think there's any way we could have ended up with what we've ended up with without that back end. And partly that on the visual side, and partly that on the game design side, the level design side, that we've using Unity as a great starting point for that. But we've also, in terms of the tools that we've built within Unity, it's always been our aim to make it as easy as possible for some people who are working on level design, which we don't really have any level designers, it's just all of us, to be able to do that in a kind of unconstrained way without having to worry about, oh God, how do I make sure that she can walk over from here to here?
Right.
It should just work. And being able to do that has been pretty amazing.
Like, it's just lowered all the barriers for entry for everyone on the team.
I feel like such a shill talking about Unity like this. So, it's not just because we're
This episode brought to you by Unity.
Yeah, the brown paper bag is currently making its way across the table.
But I mean, Unity is not necessarily the correct thing to use for every game, but for this game, it's pretty much the perfect thing.
How fully do you think the original inspiration sort of carried through to the final product? Did it change quite a bit, or?
I'm not sure that the original concept was necessarily exactly the same in terms of control mechanics or anything like that, but in terms of visuals, it's pretty much almost spot on.
Yeah, we've got that one piece of concept art on the wall, which was the first thing that the Genius Master Ken Wong actually did, and we've kept that on there as inspiration. And even recently, like we said, we finished the game now. We've looked at what we ended up with and looked at where we started, and it really isn't that far away.
Yeah.
So when he did the concept art, how did that process go? Did you guys talk about the type of game you wanted to make, and he just went off? And
no, he literally
knew what it was.
It was at a time where he, I think over the course of a few weeks, he literally just did pieces of art in different styles and different techniques. And I guess we took those pieces of art and just thought, what would happen if we made that into a game? How would that work? Which is a bit of a weird way to go about prototyping, really, but it's sort of led us to where we are now.
For this kind of thing, it's the way you have to do it.
Yeah, like we had no idea. Ken did a piece of art that was in an isometric style, and we said, how would this work as a game? How would the architecture be manipulated to get where we want to be? And that then led into a technical prototyping session of 1 week, then 2 weeks, to try and figure out how it would act, and just sort of led on from there, really.
Pete and I have worked on games before, but essentially as a group, yes, it's our first game together, and that's what's been really exciting about this, is that the game's taken us about 10 months, and you've been at us two for a year?
For about a year, yeah. So just before we started prototyping.
Yeah. So there was the previous incarnation of the games team, us two. Various people left for various reasons, moving away for family reasons out of London, and so we were looking for new people, and we managed to find some. I mean, we've been really lucky with the people we found, the sort of quality of the team we've managed to assemble, and we just got this great unit, and we did some prototyping. We started off with a couple of other ideas before we eventually got Monument Valley. But since then we've just really gelled and come together and just produced this great game that we're all really proud of. But over the course of this past year and 10 months especially, we've just really kind of fit together and all really helped each other and grown and worked out how best to deal with each other and how to support each other.
Like that was my draw. Like as I said, I joined these guys like 12 months ago on the promise that what we would do is create something that was just utterly creative we would prototype ideas, we'd bang these out, and we would do them for the sake of doing them. We don't have necessarily a directive from upper management to make this kind of game or that kind of game.
We have a directive
to make a good game.
To make a good game, that's it. Like that is the only thing, and that's the best way to be making games. So how can you kind of turn that down,
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on this before, but just out of curiosity, is there some sort of game or media influences you guys could cite for some of the ideas here? I mean, Escher is an obvious one, but I kind of get like shades of like Journey, that kind of thing. I mean, is there anything else?
Yeah, Journey's worth pointing out in terms of one of the I think the feelings behind the kind of games we want to make are, some of the people at the heart of the games team. Ken, for example. We talk a lot about what games mean and what they should be and what we want from them, and I think we're all at the moment not looking to get involved with games that take too many hours to play, and there seems to be with games as you say, Journey is a game that can be completed in less than 2 hours. You know, and it's something that we were aware of with Monument Valley. We wanted a game that people finished, and the more this is interesting, the more I talk to people about games. People are just wanting to get by what they know what they're going to get in terms of they want to pay for something. They know the game's all there. They're not going to be hit with a paywall,
right?
But also that they're going to see the end of it. This thing's not going to stretch out for so long that they're going to turn off halfway through and never get back to. So I think there possibly, there feels like there's a movement towards giving people that experience, a complete experience that they will, get through and not drift away from at some point.
Yeah, that seems that was one of the things that struck me about. There's this entire contained piece of game. Because a lot of games will come out and they'll sort of continually add levels and continually add new characters, and it seems like that wouldn't work here. It's this complete thought.
It wouldn't. Like, there's one thing we've been saying when trying to explain the game, and it may sound cheesy, but it's the perfect comparison, and that's that it's almost like an album of music. It's almost like a set of songs, and each one is written in an individual way and has an individual thing to say, and collectively they tell a story. And that's kind of one of the things we designed from the outset, and one of the things that we ended up with. And changing one of those things along the way for 69p, $1 may not have made that much sense.
So we're at GDC, obviously. So what have you guys seen that you're excited about from other developers, or what? Maybe not even at GDC, but in the last few months. Because I've seen a lot of stuff that I'm really excited about. I've seen this. I can't remember the full name, but it's Lovers in Space Time, or
Lovers in Space Time.
Yeah, and I saw that and I was like, what is going on? I went to the play, I was like, this is awesome. And there's been 10, 20 games like that at the show so far.
Is it on at GDC now? Because I actually genuinely really want to play it.
It's pretty fascinating because you played it. Yeah. It's the strangest thing because you walk up, and I was watching somebody else play it, and I was like, I don't know how I would play that game. Because the mechanic is that you're running around inside of the spaceship, and you have to run to different decks basically and control it, and I think it's designed to be played as co-op.
I was going to say that's one of the best bits about it is you having to rely on your co-player. It's really wonderful.
Is it best to play it with a lover?
I would think so, actually. Yeah,
maybe
at the end actually you type when like in an old arcade game, you type in your three initials, so you both type in your initials and then there's a heart between them, so
that's
very
awesome.
sweet. Yeah.
Does it end up being like a more complex version of Space Team, or?
It's funny. I said the same thing before you guys came. It seems like Space Team, but then mixed up with like some sort of action platformer. So, any other games that you guys have seen that you're interested in, or have you been too tired doing interviews?
We've not seen that much this year yet. I think we've just been.
Since I've been here at GDC, I feel like I've had no chance to do anything other than be in meetings and man the
it
stands,
genuinely seems like when you speak to other game developers, everyone's so busy making their own game that they don't have any time to play anyone else's games. So anyone who's looking to get into the games industry, just realise that you will probably cease to play games past this point.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to going and actually doing a good trawl of a whole arena tomorrow.
Yeah, so we've got 3 of us on one booth, which is the Unity booth there. So there's enough time for 1 or 2 of us at a time to go and sort of have a look around the floor and see what's there.
Yeah, I'm really keen to go to the what's it called, alt.control.gdc. It's in the indie hall.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of different controllers and things like that. And we've met a load of people who sounds like they're showing pretty interesting things there. So yeah, I can't wait to go and have a go at that. Obviously, all the VR stuff is everybody's really excited about.
You trip over a VR device every 5 feet.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's true though. Like, we were having a conversation at dinner before we came tonight, and we were saying it's genuinely the most exciting time to be making games.
Yeah. And I've heard like Valve actually even has something that they're not showing to the public, but I guess
really want to see that.
Yeah, I think that one of the Oculus guys said he went to a presentation, like a behind closed doors thing, and he said he was blown away.
Yeah,
which is pretty insane.
Everything I've read about people who've seen the Valve VR demo is like they're just completely mind blown. So
wow, it's got to love to
I want to get on that.
Yeah, we'll try and get on it this week whilst we're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is anyone out there?
We'll tell them we're going to make Monument Valley, and in Oculus, in VR.
We were playing this. I've forgotten what it's called, but we were playing this Oculus game, which we're doing. It's kind of similar Escher-esque impossible staircases and all that at the BAFTA show last week, and that was really interesting for Oculus, because I've seen a few Oculus demos, and having that one of those ones where, you know, a lot of Oculus demos try and be a bit gentle with you, but this one where you're like, I have no idea which way I'm looking, which way up, which way is up. It was.
But he was cool because the guy he we were with at BAFTA genuinely said that he made that because he'd seen our game.
Did he?
That was a genuine thing he said. Yeah, which I thought was awesome.
Does that mean you get a percentage of the profits?
I hope so. I hope so. I didn't record him saying it, so I have no legal boundaries for suing him yet. But no,
what was it? You don't remember the name of that?
I feel it's bad because I can't plug him now.
No,
that's true.
It was one of the Mastertronic games that was being shown there, which is the publisher.
Okay, so when's the game going to be out? When can they get it, and where can they get it?
The game's going to be out on the 3rd of April, and they can download it off iTunes. It's going to be a universal app, so you can play it on iPad and you can play it on iPhone. We've seen a couple of press articles that say it's iPad only. That's not true. It does genuinely look really good on iPhone.
Setting the record straight here.
Setting the record straight here as well. And we've had a lot of people ask about other platforms, and for now we're going to be releasing an Android version later on in that month as well.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to playing the final game.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Thanks.